Shalom and welcome to Emunah and Chizuk. Today we're talking about something really important. What makes Jewish faith different from every other religion in the world? And the answer might surprise you. We've talked about before the quality of faith that includes good character traits. That's the vessel, the container that allows us to receive Jewish faith. But here's the key thing. The actual content of Jewish faith, what fills the vessel, is actually divine revelation. It's what God Himself revealed to the Jewish people. This is what makes Jewish faith unique. Other religions started when human beings used their imagination and spirit to create their idea of what God is like. But Jewish faith doesn't work that way. It's based on divine revelation, on God revealing Himself to us. In other words, the Jewish people's quality of faith doesn't define what we believe. Instead, it allows us to receive the divine revelation, which is the actual content of our faith. The Torah is complete divine revelation that God revealed to our Avot and the Nevi'im, especially Moshe Rabbeinu, who is the father of all prophets. Let me give you an example of how this works. At Har Sinai, when Hashem gave us the Ten Commandments, He opened with these words, "I am Hashem, your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt from the house of slavery." If you think about that for a second, why didn't God say, "I am Hashem, your God, who created heaven and earth"? That seems like it would be more impressive, right? The reason is because God reveals Himself through creation in a hidden way. You have to think about it and figure it out. But Yetziat Mitzrayim, with all its signs and miracles, every single Jew experienced that openly and clearly. It was undeniable. Rabbi Yehuda Halevi explains this beautifully in his book, The Kuzari. He says that Jewish faith is built on God's revelation, not on philosophical arguments or human reasoning, but on actual experience of God's presence. And that's why it says that He took us out of Egypt and not that He created the world. Because in Egypt, we were all there, but we didn't see Him actually create the world. Now here's something really interesting about how the Torah is written. The Torah could have started the story of Abraham by telling us about his greatness, how he used his wisdom to search for Borei Olam, how he was willing to die for his faith, how he was thrown into fiery furnace but refused to worship idols or deny God. The Torah could have told us that Abraham called out in God's name and converted many people who followed his footsteps. But Torah does not tell us any of that. Instead, the first thing that Torah says about Abraham is, Lech lecha. God tells Abraham, go forth from your land, from your birthplace, from your father's house, to the land that I will show you. Why does the Torah skip all those amazing stories about Abraham's search for truth? To emphasize that faith begins with God choosing to reveal Himself to Abraham, not with Abraham's choice. As it says in the book of Nehemiah, "You are Hashem, God, who chose Abraham and brought him out of Ur Kasdim and made his name Abraham." And even the qualities that make us suited to receive Emunah, those come from Hashem too. God created the souls of the Jewish people with an endless desire to understand the world and fix it. So here's what this means for us. The choice that stands before the Jewish people is this. Will we be faithful to our inner nature, seek God's word, and bring His blessing to the world? Or will we stray after idols and our negative impulses and face consequences? Well, we don't get to choose. We can't change our natural quality as a people. We can change the fact that God chose us to bring blessing to the world through us. That's who we are at our core. Think of it like this. Imagine you're born into a family of doctors. You could choose to become a doctor and heal people, or you could choose a different path. But you can't change the fact that healing is in your family's DNA, that you grew up around it, and that it shaped who you are. The Jewish people are like that with bringing God's light to the world. It's not something we invented or chose, it's something God placed within us and revealed to us. This is actually really comforting when you think about it. That our emunah, our faith, isn't just something we made up or have to constantly prove with logic. It's based on something real that happened. God revealing Himself to our ancestors at Har Sinai, bringing us out of Egypt, giving us the Torah. We're not guessing or hoping, we're responding to something God initiated. And that's why our faith can stay strong even when things get hard, even when we have questions. Because it's not just our idea of God, it's God's revelation of Himself to us. That's where we'll leave it for today. Thank you for joining on Emunah and Chizuk.